Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebral lights. It is she, the cerebral diva, and she is back with another episode of reality, and that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather round, and let's all partake in this libation of Real Housewives of Atlanta tea. All right, people. Season 12, episode 1. The more, the merrier. Kenya Moore is back. And beyond Kenya Moore being back, one of the things that I found interesting was who was not back, and that person being Nene. So there's been this huge rumor, even though Nene has denied it at every opportunity, that Nene was not going to be present during the first 3 episodes after the altercation that happened last season. Where you know who else is not back that I realized? I'm sorry, just had to deviate for just a moment here, but stay with me. We'll come back to Nene. I realized that Shamari's not back. I like Shamari. Am I the only one who misses Shamari? So I'm sad to see that Shamari is not back. Maybe she'll be back as a friend in some capacity, but I think they should have kept Shamari. Shamari is, in my opinion, reality TV gold because Shamari lays it all on the line. There's no pomp, no circumstance. It is what it is with Shamari, and I really appreciate that. So I'm really sad to see that Shamari is not back. At least not as a peach holder, but hopefully we'll see her later on in the season. But really quick, so Nene, who got in trouble last year after the melee that happened with the whole closet incident, it was rumored that she wasn't going to be back for the first 3 episodes and that her pay was being withheld due to her behavior. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, right? Because if you are violating my personal space and I'm reacting to something that you're doing, why am I the one that's being punished? Even though I'm not the biggest Nene fan, I believe right is right and wrong is wrong, and I don't believe invading someone's privacy and having them react to you invading their privacy and you being injured as a result of you invading their privacy should result in that person being punished. Calling me crazy, but I'm definitely Team Nene. I don't think she should have been punished. There are other things I think she should have been punished for, but this particular incident, not at all. So anyway, Nene was not back. Shamari is not present, which makes me so sad. But Kenya is back. Kenya is back and in full effect. In fact, the first episode was actually titled for Kenya, The More the Merrier. We see Kenya. First of all the ladies look stunning. Everyone from Cynthia, everyone from Kenya, Portia, Eva, everyone looked absolutely stunning in my opinion. But what I found interesting is that as I started watching this first episode, which opens up with Kenya and her baby Brooklyn, who is absolutely adorable, is that I couldn't figure out if I was watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta or Teen Mom. Like, it just turned into like a whole baby fest. So we went from Kenya and her baby to Portia and PJ. Portia's baby is adorable as well. And also what's really interesting is that you have Kenya with her first child and you have Portia with her first child, right? And the babies look nothing like them. Kenya's baby looks just like Mark Daly, and Portia's baby looks undeniably Dennis. I mean, Dennis is all over that little girl's face. A cuter version of Dennis, but definitely Dennis. I see absolutely no Portia when I look at that little baby, but she is just so chubby and so adorable and so cute. So I thought it was really nice to see them both getting the chance to be moms and getting to fulfill that wish of being mothers. So it was really cool to see them and actually see them bond over motherhood. So I thought that was awesome to see. What else happened last night? So Portia, who's giving birth to PJ, is not in that happy place that we saw her last year where she was, being proposed to and had Lil Mo singing in the background, and I don't think that this really comes as a surprise to anyone. Certainly not a surprise to me. When you watched Portia and Dennis last year, 2 things stood out to me. One of the things that stood out to me was the tempo. She was moving really, 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 really fast, really aggressively, right? And you could see the reluctance on Dennis's face to commit. And I think a lot of women make this mistake. Like, this is a classic case of ignoring the signs. If a man is telling you that he doesn't want to commit, please hear that. Please hear that, because you might get exactly what you want. And that will be a half-hearted commitment. If and whenever someone tells me that they don't want to commit, that's all I need to put on my walking shoes. That's it. I won't ask you again. There will not be a second conversation. I'm not going to try to paint you into a corner. And I definitely think when you watch last year's episode, you could see the desperation from Portia, and you could also see Portia pushing to create this family for whatever reason with Dennis. So I think she didn't look both ways before she crossed the street, because the signs were definitely there with Dennis. But here we are, a year later. She has the baby. She no longer has the man. Or technically, I guess they're still trying to work things out, so she sort of has the man. But in my opinion, she'd be a fool to move forward with this. She'd be a fool. Just take the baby, accept things as they are, and just let sleeping dogs lie. I don't think that it would be smart. I don't think it would behoove Portia in any way to move forward with this relationship. But don't listen to me. I just know what I'm talking about. So, so we see Portia, and she's crying. It was a scene where Portia was crying and talking about Dennis, and I consider myself to be a very sensitive person, but this scene felt forced to me. I couldn't tell if Portia was smoking a blunt or if she was crying. She was not a tear in sight. So I'm like, is she hitting the blunt? Is she crying? I'm not quite sure exactly what's happening in the scene, but it felt forced to me. And that's not to say that Portia is not experiencing some real trauma, some real pain, some real angst from the fallout of that relationship. I just felt like that scene was choreographed, for lack of a better term. And she was trying. You could see her on the brink of tears. Like, you could see the eyes filling up almost to the point where a single tear was about to fall out, but never. It just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. So we see that, and so that's that scene. What else happened last night that was interesting? Oh, Tasha K. Tasha K was all over. Shout out to Tasha K. If you don't watch Tasha K, definitely check her out. Tasha K did her thing last night on this episode. I hope she got paid handsomely, because they used her YouTube content all throughout this episode. I thought that was fantastic, just to see her getting that type of exposure. And the thing that they were talking about was this girl Sincere. Now, this is another one of those scenes that for me felt completely artificial. So Sincere, who is the alleged mistress of Dennis, she shows up at the OLG restaurant while Cynthia, Candy, and Eva are having lunch or dinner. Eva, who, by the way, shout out to Eva for eating like a real woman. Eva ordered everything on the menu. No shame. Maybe it's just a pregnancy appetite. I don't know. But I appreciate Eva. Like, look, I'm not here to play games. I'm here to eat. So they all sit down for dinner, for lunch. And one of the wait staff comes over to Candy and say, oh, we have a drink. And Candy says, oh, well, thanks for the drink, but I don't drink. And then the person who sent the drink to Candy shows up, and it is none other than Dennis's alleged mistress, Sincere. Sincere, who is absolutely stunning, by the way. Like, if your man is cheating on you and you have nightmares about the woman who he's cheating on you with, Sincere would be the prototype of the woman that you don't want your man to cheat with. Absolutely stunning. So Sincere shows up at the restaurant. She's giving you Beyonce braids and these light eyes, really, really pretty girl, and denim jumpsuit. And so she comes over to the table and she basically says, look, I know you guys have probably heard a lot about me. I'm the woman that it's being alleged that Dennis is cheating with, but I just want to let you guys know that I support Black love. I'm not that type of woman. I would never do that. It's just not in my character to do it. And, her name is Sincere, and she came across pretty sincere. Sincerity is sincere? Yeah, so she came across pretty sincere in that scene. Even though, again, she just doesn't pop up at OLG restaurant on the day that they're filming. Face beat, hair done, outfit snatched, like, there were just too many variables that came together. Like, this was just the perfect storm. Like, no, this was obviously a scene once again that was choreographed, but it was interesting. So after Sincere came over and told the ladies Cynthia, Eva, and Portia, I'm sorry, Cynthia, Eva, and Candy that she didn't cheat with Dennis, they decided that they were collectively going to share this information with Portia at a more opportune time. So Kenya decides that she wants to do this sort of sip and see Barbie themed party for her daughter Brooklyn to introduce her to the Atlanta community. And she invites everyone. Everyone shows up. I thought Candy and Ace looked adorable. They were like rockstar Barbie and Ken. Cynthia showed up as the thirsty bride because she's been really pushing Mike Hill to get married. So I thought that that was really, really funny. So anyway, everyone's at the party. Kenya's being her messy self, and the girls are having a conversation. And Kenya is within earshot, and she hears them talking, and she says, "So what are you guys talking about?" And they say, "Oh well, the other day while we were at OLG, Dennis's alleged mistress showed up, and she said that it's not true what happened between what's being alleged between she and Dennis, right?" So they I say, well, we're gonna tell Portia, but we just don't feel like right now is the appropriate time to do so. And so Kenya sort of heads in Portia's direction, and they grab her by the arm and pull her back and tell her, hey, no, 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 we'll take care of that at a later date and time. So everyone laughs it off and let it go back to enjoying the party. And then Portia decides that she wants to put PJ to sleep. So she's taking PJ to a place to find some quiet time so she can give PJ a nap. And Kenya decides to join her with Brooklyn. So you see the two of them, they're having mommy time and they're reflecting about their tumultuous relationship and, how far that they've come and how, now that they are mothers, they can appreciate each other, a lot more. Portia was thanking Kenya, for reaching out to her and communicating with her. And then at some point, Portia tells Kenya that Eva was being messy and didn't want to bring her kids to the party because she wasn't quite sure which Kenya she was going to be encountering. And so Kenya felt offended by that and said, well, since we're spilling tea, let me spill some tea of my own. And so she basically says, hey, the girl Sincere showed up at OLG. And the moment anything, given Candy and Portia's history, the moment Portia hears anything that is associated with Candy, she's side-eyeing it. So she tells Portia that, the girl showed up and it was at the OLG gang, and needless to say again, Portia just was not here for it. So Kenya goes and gets Cynthia, Candy, and Eva and bring them in to sort of address what they had spoken about earlier. So, and I like this scene too because in this scene, Cynthia has really grown a lot. So Cynthia turns to Kenya and was like, excuse me, didn't we tell you that we were going to tell her this? And Kenya's like, well, she told me something, so I told her something. But I just appreciate the fact that Cynthia, was speaking up for herself in that moment and not letting Kenya steamroll her. Because there was a scene earlier where Kenya was basically telling Cynthia that she was thirsty, and then she came into Cynthia's wine bar, the Bailey wine bar, and basically just, tore to pieces. Like she was being a little shady, if I'm being completely honest. Like there were some things that she said last night towards Cynthia that I was a little like, oh, I'm not quite sure how I feel about Kenya, because Cynthia is like the most diminutive, soft and fluffy. She's like, when you're mean to Cynthia, it's like kicking a puppy in my eyes. I just don't see her as a person who's naturally aggressive. So I didn't like some of the things that Kenya said to her last night. So I like the fact that I saw her speaking up against Kenya, because we've seen her steamroll by Nene, and I just don't want to see Cynthia continuing this pattern of attracting friends who have personalities that are larger than hers, that continue to dwarf and stifle her opinions. So I really like the fact that she was speaking up against Kenya in that moment. So they all go and tell Portia exactly what Sincere said. And basically, Shamia was there as well too, and basically say that, maybe it's not as bad as you think it is, So there's some good news. She's saying that, what's been on the blogs, what's being reported on the blogs is not true. But there's some other information apparently outside of the the alleged relationship with Sincere that has Portia trepidations, for lack of a better term, in terms of getting back with Dennis. There was also, one of the things I found really disturbing about this episode was there was this mention of Dennis and bestiality. I have heard, I keep my ear to the street, and this is a rumor that had eluded me. Like, I'd never heard about Dennis and bestiality. And frankly, I don't necessarily believe it's true. But in addition to bringing this up on the show, which I thought was completely distasteful, they did this whole montage of sort of suggestive situations or scenarios where Dennis was talking about Portia and her tail when she was wearing this animal themed onesie. And I thought that it was like, wow, why would you even sort of put that in the ether that this man is into animals? Like, this is, I think Dennis should actually be looking at an attorney, because this was character assassination on a whole other level. Because they definitely intimated during this episode that this man was into was into animals. Like, I mean, that is now. I mean, it's one we've seen countless people outed for athletes. We've seen countless people outed, excuse me, for being trans attracted. But I guess those things are passe. Like, bestiality is the new trans at this point. Like, I mean, it's just like they are trying to find something so sensational, so incendiary, that this is where we took it. I just thought it was completely distasteful. And I don't know, if I was Dennis, I would definitely be looking at options in terms of litigation. Like, I just thought that was really the wrong angle to play last night. But overall, this episode was it was a little ho-hum in my opinion, but it definitely looks like it's going to spice up later. So make sure you tune in for my weekly updates. What else do I have to say? As always, in closing, people, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva. Like, comment, subscribe, and share if you care. And as always, remember, I do this for fun, not for a living. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.